boys and girls. We're going to go over question number 29. Which fraction is equivalent to 1/4? Explain. So if we're looking for an equivalent fraction, we're looking for a fraction that's equal or the same as another fraction. So the fraction that we're trying to find equivalency to would be 1/4. They give us 4 options. We're going to work through each and see which is equivalent. So the first one is 1/2, and they're explaining all of the equivalent fractions by using multiplication. So 1/2, it says 1/4 is equivalent to 1/2 by multiplying 1/4 by 2, or 2 over 1, which equals 1/2. If we go ahead and multiply this, well, 1 times 2 isn't 1, and 4 times 1 isn't 2, so 1/2 can't be equivalent to 1/4. And I think we're familiar with halves and fourths, and we know that it takes 2/4 to get to 1/2. So answer A could not be correct. Okay, and next up we have 4/12. So they multiplied 1/4 times 4/3 to get 4/12. And if we look that over, 1 times 4 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12, so the multiplication is correct. However, if we're looking for an equivalent fraction, we need to multiply the fraction by 1. And what that means is the numerator and the denominator have to be the same number. We know from our multiplication different rules that we learned about earlier in the year, the identity property states that anything times 1 is itself or is equal to itself. So a fraction, if it's the same number in the numerator and the denominator, it means it's equal to 1. And that's the only way we can find an equivalent fraction. So though the multiplication is right here, 4/12 is not equal to 1/4. So B cannot be correct. Now moving to the next one, we have 2/8. And it says 1/4 times 2/2 equals 2/8. So if we look, we see 1 times 2 is 2, 4 times 2 is 8, and the fraction that we're multiplying by has the same numerator and the same denominator, which means 2/2 is the same as 1. And we know from the identity property of multiplication, anything times 1 equals itself. So that means that 2/8 is equivalent to 1/4. This is correct. We have an equivalent fraction. Woo! Now, multiple choice, just because we found the correct answer doesn't mean we should stop there. We should definitely check our last one just to make sure that we selected the correct answer choice. So lastly, we have 5/16, and I'm looking right away at the multiplication here. 5/4 is not equal to 1. Therefore, 1/4 times 5/4 cannot be equivalent to 1/4, like we talked about before. So it looks like answer choice C is correct. 2/8 is equivalent to 1/4.